public schools in Edgewood ISD in San Antonio, and I chose to work in the field of special education and actively worked most of my years in Edgewood ISD. This district has been home to me most of my life, as I'm still active in the community after my retirement. While I retired as special ed director for Edgewood, at the time that this voucher program began, at that time I was a program specialist for the education department, which meant I communicated with schools at the district level. There always has been a requirement for collaboration between the school district and the private schools which reside within the district. Additionally, there also has been a requirement for the public school to set aside funding for services for parentally placed school children that must be spent within the fiscal year. Public schools are required to follow the IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, federal requirement where any child with a disability must receive all needed educational services regardless of their disability from the age of 3 to 21 years of age in the public school where the child resides. However, private schools do not have to follow federal law. They can simply attempt to provide the term equitable services. Additionally, the services must take place whether the parentally placed private school child lives in the district or not. When this project was taking place, there were parents of children with disabilities who chose to have their children enrolled in private schools. Parents of children with more involved or severe disabilities found that their child was not being accepted to the private schools. This was very disappointing for these families. These are families that are constantly having trouble being able to take their child to various activities and events that other children attend due to their limitations. And being turned away from a private school added to these sad occurrences for them. Additionally, if there were typical siblings in the family, it is more evident that what was available for one of their children was not available for the other. As we know, parents strive to make their child with a disability feel accepted in as many environments as possible. If there were children with minor disabilities accepted to the program, families started discovering that all services were provided and funded by the residing school district. For example, if the child had a speech impairment, the speech therapy services were provided by the residing school district. As these parents saw the differences, I did see some of the children slowly return to the school district. Change can be a challenge for children with disabilities. When the children returned, the teachers needed to work on helping the child transition back to the public school and follow the required curriculum, which was usually different at the private schools. And that took some time for the children to get back on track. Funding is already an issue for low-income districts such as Edgewood ISD. While funding is lower compared to other school districts, the educational expectations remain the same for all children. Additionally, children with disabilities have needs that range from specialized classrooms, related services such as physical therapy, occupational therapy, and some even require instruction for certified teacher certifications. And these services must be accessible for all children with disabilities. And parents, as was just said, also have the legal right to be aware of their child's education, to have access to request information regarding their child, as the services are vital to the educational success of the child with a disability, and they also require funding in order to enforce it. Private school placement should be a parent's choice and should not be dependent on their income. However, taking funding away from public schools should not be an option. Parentally placed children with disabilities in private schools should also be equal. However, these placements tend to include children with minor educational needs, which leaves the remaining special education population with more involved needs in the public school. I hope that the special education population and its funding to be considered when looking at using these fundings. Decreasing public school funding will directly affect the educational success of all of our children with disabilities in the public school system. Thank you.
Yeah, thank